Imagine waking up tomorrow to a world where every single secure banking system, every classified government database, and every military comms network just cracks wide open. The digital locks we've relied on for decades, suddenly entirely useless. Now, this isn't the plot of some futuristic sci-fi movie. This is the very real, very impending reality of the quantum era. Today, we're looking at a technological transformation that is going to fundamentally alter global security, governance, and our entire digital economy.
We really need to understand right off the bat that the quantum threat is already here. The stakes literally could not be higher. We are talking about a massive shift that's going to redefine economic stability, your personal privacy, and the entire global balance of power.
So, welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to be your guide today as we decode this incredibly pivotal research paper published by Niti Aayog's Frontier Tech Hub, working alongside the Data Security Council of India. We are going to unpack the geopolitics, the underlying science, and the immense strategic implications of quantum technology.
Here is our agenda for the briefing. We're going to start by decoding quantum mechanics, then map out the national security matrix, look at the ecosystem challenges, break down Niti Aayog's strategic blueprint, and finish up with a final revision to lock it all in.
Okay, let's dive into Section 1, Decoding Quantum Mechanics, Bits versus Qubits. To truly grasp the geopolitical threat here, we first have to build a mental model of the science itself.
Let's start with the absolute basics, right? Traditional computers operate using classical bits. Think of a bit exactly like a light switch. It's either strictly on, a 1, or strictly off, a 0. That's how every device you currently use processes data. But quantum computers use quantum bits, or qubits. Qubits basically throw that whole light switch analogy out the window, because they can exist in multiple states simultaneously. This completely changes the rules of the game, opening the door to computing power we can honestly barely fathom.
The first core concept that makes all of this possible is superposition. Think of a spinning coin. While it's spinning in the air, is it heads or tails? Well, it's kind of a blur of both at the same time, right? That is superposition. Qubits can be both 0 and 1 simultaneously. And this is huge because it enables massive parallel data processing. Instead of solving a maze by trying just one path at a time like your laptop would, a quantum computer tries every single path at once. But there's a catch. Just like catching that spinning coin, the moment you actually measure the qubit, it collapses into a single, definite state.
Next up, we have entanglement. Imagine you have two perfectly synchronized magic coins. You keep one here on Earth, and you send the other one all the way to the moon. If you flip yours and it lands on heads, the one on the moon instantly lands on heads too, regardless of the crazy distance between them. In quantum mechanics, when two particles are entangled, changes in one instantly affect the other. This specific concept is absolutely crucial. It's the holy grail for creating secure, practically unhackable communication networks.
And this brilliantly leads us to our final physics concept, interference. Because qubits operate in these wave-like states, those states can interact with each other. Quantum algorithms use interference to actually amplify the probability of getting the correct result, while actively canceling out the wrong answers. It essentially allows the quantum computer to self-correct and zero right in on the answer. Moving to Section 2, the national security matrix and dual-use realities. Now that we understand the raw power of qubits, we really need to shift our focus from the laboratory directly onto the battlefield. Quantum computing is literally the ultimate dual-use technology. On one hand, you're looking at unbelievable military advantages, optimizing incredibly complex supply chains, powering next-gen AI for autonomous defense, refining precision missile guidance. But on the other side of the coin, terrifying cyber threats. That exact same processing power can be weaponized to entirely shatter classical cryptography. We're talking faster decryption of global comms, vastly improved signals intelligence, or SIGINT, and executing totally devastating corporate and economic espionage. So here is the absolute most crucial takeaway. The shift to post-quantum cryptography is no longer just an option. It's a critical necessity for national survival. Because quantum computers can break the encryption protecting everything from Wall Street to trade secrets, the nation that hits quantum supremacy first, they will dominate global intelligence. They won't just have an edge, they're going to set the global rules. Section 3, India's ecosystem challenges, vulnerabilities, and gaps. This brings us to a really critical question. Where does India actually stand on this highly competitive global chessboard? Let's look at the financial reality. India has allocated 6,003 crore rupees, which is roughly 750 million US dollars, for the National Quantum Mission. Now, while this is a really substantial step, the NITI Aayog report clearly highlights that it's significantly lower than the budgets of global peers. And this funding gap directly limits the country's ability to build essential infrastructure, fund cutting-edge R&D, and crucially, acquire top-tier talent.
And unfortunately, that funding gap creates a massive domino effect across the whole ecosystem. Quantum processors require highly specialized environments to work, specifically ultra-cold cryogenic systems that cool chips to temperatures literally colder than deep space. Right now, India lacks the indigenous manufacturing for these, leading to a heavy, vulnerable reliance on foreign suppliers. Plus, unlike the US, where giants like Google and IBM are driving innovation, India's ecosystem is heavily leaning on academia. Without massive venture capital and big private tech stepping in, scaling up becomes a massive bottleneck. The hidden challenge here is time. The clock is ticking. If these ecosystem gaps aren't fixed rapidly, the cybersecurity risks become catastrophic. Existing cybersecurity frameworks will just become totally obsolete. Sensitive government records, military comms, your personal online banking, all of it stored using traditional encryption, will be completely at the mercy of any state actor with quantum capabilities. Section 4. NITI Aayog's Strategic Blueprint for Securing the Future. Look, a structural problem demands a structural reform. So let's pivot from the vulnerabilities to the actual solutions. NITI Aayog recommends a highly systematic defense mechanism. Step 1, establish a dedicated quantum security task force to actively monitor global advancements. Step 2, develop a robust early warning system to constantly probe India's own frameworks for vulnerabilities. And Step 3, which is perhaps the most urgent, implementing a comprehensive post-quantum cryptography transition plan to secure national digital assets way before the threat fully materializes. To actually fix the ecosystem, this blueprint attacks the supply chain head-on. Step 1, the government absolutely must increase funding for R&D and startups. But money alone isn't enough, right? Step 2 requires aggressively encouraging private sector collaboration to fast-track commercialization. And Step 3 is the long-term fix, investing heavily in the domestic manufacturing of those vital cryogenic systems and processors to replace foreign dependence once and for all. Finally, we can't ignore tech diplomacy. You just cannot build this technology in a vacuum. The report strongly advises forging strategic partnerships with quantum leaders like the US, the EU, and Japan. India has to advocate for relaxed export controls to make sure they have access to advanced components while that domestic supply chain slowly catches up. Section 5. Revision and Master Analysis. We've covered the physics, the threats, the vulnerabilities, and the policy. Let's lock these concepts in for your long-term recall. Here is your rapid-fire master recap. 1. Qubits shatter classical limits through superposition and entanglement. 2. This creates a terrifying dual-use reality, empowering military AI but threatening global encryption. 3. India's progress is currently choked by weak domestic supply chains and funding gaps. 4. Transitioning to post-quantum cryptography is an immediate survival imperative. And 5. The solution relies on executing NITI Aayog's blueprint, boosting R&D, building local manufacturing, and securing those global alliances. For your analytical thinking, lock in these exact keywords. Superposition and entanglement are your scientific foundation. Qubits power the whole thing. The geopolitical risk is defined by vulnerabilities in SIGINT, while post-quantum cryptography is your ultimate defense. Keep a really close eye on cryogenic systems as the main manufacturing bottleneck, and remember that all of this falls under the umbrella of the NQM, the National Quantum Mission. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. The science here is moving exponentially. The policy is just racing to catch up. Based on the entire framework we've explored today, the ultimate question is this: will India act fast enough to overcome its ecosystem hurdles and become a rule maker in this new quantum era? Or will it remain a rule taker, entirely dependent on the technological supremacy of others? Think about that. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I will see you in the next explainer.